So there's a few that I like. I'll start with the Mavericks. I think it's a little bit of a crapshoot, but based on what we saw in round one, I mean, you have multiple players who are playing big time minutes for this team. Dorian Finney-Smith is like 40 plus every single night. Reggie Bullock, approaching 45 minutes every single night with Tim Hardaway, obviously sidelined for this team. So both of those guys are players that I kind of always find myself plugging into a lineup, whether it's a showdown or a full slate contest, which we're only talking 2 games tonight. But even though they maybe don't have like the highest statistical ceiling, Dorian Finney-Smith's not going to go off for 30 and 10. But when you're just out there for 45 minutes in a playoff game, you're going to rack up stats. So those are 2 guys that I always target. Maxi Kleba came up big for Dallas in round 1. We'll see if that carries over. He's another mid to low guy who I target. And then I think there's going to be a lot of people flocking to Paul Reed, who's at 4,200. He was already in the Sixers rotation during round 1, saw 9 to 10 minutes a game behind Embiid. With Embiid out of there, it's like we can't trust DeAndre Jordan at this point, right? So I think Paul Reed is a natural pivot. Again, he's going to be popular. Maybe there's a case to be made that you want to zag on that, at least for game 1. But $4,200, I mean, it makes it pretty easy to slot Paul Reed into your lineup.
Okay, do you agree with that, Friar? And who do you look for some value?
I do think Reed is a guy that should be on your radar, and honestly, DeAndre Jordan too. That guy has been passed around so much over the past couple of years. It's kind of funny. But George Niang is actually another guy that I'm looking at. I think that this Sixers Heat matchup is where the most value is going to come from because you have no Joel Embiid. Niang is one of those guys that I'm going to look to. Of course, lines up at the power forward, 4.1K going up against Miami. Without Embiid on the floor this season, he garners a 20.2% usage rate. So nothing crazy, but he's getting consistent minutes when Embiid was playing throughout this series. So that's only going to go upward in these first couple games, averaging 0.8 DK fantasy points per minute without Embiid on the floor. But if I had to say my favorite guy, though, I think I'd go with Gabe Vincent at 4.4K going up on the other side of this matchup. I know Victor Oladipo's got the most upside, and obviously at 5.1K, he can give you a ton of value still if Butler doesn't go. But whether or not Butler goes, and obviously some of these other guys that are possibly going to be sidelined for this game, I think Gabe Vincent is a really solid, comfortable floor play in the value spot where he averaged 5 times value throughout most of this last series. I think he only had one real clunker in all of it. And as long as he's getting over 20 minutes, he's going to be bringing that value too. So, and he should be getting that tonight with just Lowry out alone.